Retail investors continue to make the same mistake that they do every market cycle. The second that we get a little bit of volatility, they panic, they freak out, and they just go run for the hills. So in this video, we're going to walk through a bunch of different data points that are going to help you crystal clearly understand where the market's at right now, how to capitalize. I'm going to show you inside my Charles Schwab account. I'm going to show you my stock sheet because there's some crazy deals popping up on there right now, and just simply how to allocate to make money with stocks and options. That's what we're all here for. So let's start off right here. Just a few months ago, the market was in a greed category with a score of 71 out of 100. Now that the market pulled back just a few percent from all-time highs, the market's freaking out, the market's panicking, retail investors are just running for the hills. We're now in the extreme fear category somehow. So here's the deal. Warren Buffett's always said when there's fear in the market, that's when there's opportunity. That is when you want to go capitalize. But when you go look online on YouTube, X, Instagram, whatever social media you're on, it's just like everybody's freaking out. Everybody's panicking. The worst stock market crash has now arrived. What is actually happening? But what it really is it's just the market taking a simple, healthy breather. When the market sends to the moon like it did right here, you cannot be shocked if we have a little bit of volatility after a 31% rally in just a few months. So when I was on this YouTube channel talking the last few months about, hey, I started to put some bonds in my account. I started to lower how many sold puts I'm doing, how many calls I'm buying, how much bullish allocation overall I'm doing. I started doing that up here because the market was a little bit stretched above the earnings per share growth line. That's the blue line right here. Stocks are always going to follow that in the long term. But now that the market's coming back down to reality, coming back down to closer where the earnings per share growth line is at, I'm starting to get a little bit more bullish. But I'm not over the top bullish. I'm not betting the house. I'm not selling a bunch of puts. I'm not on margin right now. I'm just becoming a little bit more bullish because the foundation of the market down here, it's now rising. The market has stronger footing here than what it had up here, which is exactly what we want to see. But if you just go look at the Fear Grid Index again, you would think that we're in like a 1999 dot-com crash right now for how fearful the market is, and it's just a healthy pullback. But, that's how the market's always going to be. You can see that we're still a little bit above the 125-day moving average, which, again, still points to the market might be a little bit overvalued still. But you know that we talk about options so much on this channel here, so I want to talk about this chart right here because it's honestly so critical to understand. This is a put-call ratio. Basically, the higher that this number goes right here, like this is high, this is low, the higher it goes, the more people there are buying put options. So when the market was falling for the Iran dip, everybody was buying put options, everybody was hedging their portfolio with puts. But then down here, when the market was basically topped out in the beginning of June, there was nobody buying puts and everybody was buying calls. Now that the market's falling, it's getting cheaper, safer, more compelling. The herd, as they always do, running around with their heads cut off like chickens, are now buying more puts as the market's falling, getting cheaper, safer, more compelling. And just to plop that on this chart right here, again, just so you can visualize it, let me do a 1-year chart. The market was buying puts right here to hedge. The market rallied, all those puts that they bought got smoked. So I was selling puts right here and they did great. Then the market sent to Pluto, disconnected from the earnings per share growth line right here, and everybody was just buying calls because everybody was euphoric. Not the time to buy calls up here. Now that the market's falling, because it's coming back down to the earnings per share growth line, all those people that bought calls are not happy right now. So it just shows you that typical retail investors often do the exact opposite of what they should do in the stock market. So here's what I think overall. Overall, the market's just coming back down to earth because it's just simply that. The market went up a little bit too much. It's coming back down to earth. We are also in an election midterm cycle right now where historically, if you look at this down draw right here, midterm election years for June are typically bad. We are basically wrapping up June right now. We kind of had a bad-ish June. I mean, it can't really be that bad if you just look at the 30+% rally we just got in the last few months, but it does fit the build for the data right here. So if we look at July in an election year, it's usually good. August is usually good. September is usually nothing. And then October, November, December, after the election is basically concluded or about to be concluded, the market then has more clarity to rally higher. So what I'm seeing right now is volatility in the market that's likely to be opportunity if you buy a great company for less than what it's worth. And that's what we're going to go through in this video once we go through the stock sheet right here. But going to one more thing before we actually go dive into that. This data just came out and it is so critical to understand. This basically gives us the lay of the land for where the actual stock market's at. The S&P 500, versus the earnings per share growth. And as I preach on this channel so many times, guys, earnings per share dictates where the actual market or the individual stock is going to go. It's always going to be like that. It's just always going to be like that. Don't complicate it. 10-year chart right here. Darker line's the earnings per share growth line. The lighter line's the actual S&P 500 itself. S&P was a little bit disconnected up here. No surprise that as earnings per share is going up and the market's going sideways a little bit, the market's becoming cheaper, safer, and more compelling, which is literally exactly what we want to see. So don't complicate this dip. Don't complicate this volatility. The market just went up too much. The market's going to follow this in the long term. In the short term, the market gets emotional, the market gets greedy, the market gets fearful. The market might go below it and below it and below it and then above it and above it and above it and above it. Those above and belows in relation to the earnings per share growth line is opportunity to capitalize. So don't overthink it. Don't overthink it. You're going to drive yourself nuts if you read every single headline online and then it's like, I ran to this, I ran to that, the short term is this, short term is that, Kevin Warsh at the Fed, all this stuff. Most of that stuff is noise at the end of the day. This is the signal. So the market is still a little bit above the earnings per share growth line, and I call it about 5% overvalued right now. So if the market falls another 5%, these lines will basically be overlapped, and the market is essentially going to be at fair value at that point. So don't overcomplicate it again if the market falls another 5%. It's justified, needed, and healthy. But when you look at this earnings per share growth line and just how vertical it is right now, if we just continue this trajectory right here, this is where the market is very, very likely to go in the coming years. This is 10 years right here across the bottom, so we'll just say that this is 1 year right here. 1 year, the market could be all the way up here, and then we go to the left and we could technically have a $9,000 S&P 500, which is quite a bit of upside from right here. And the reason why the market could literally go up that much is because of this number right here. The earnings per share growth rate for the S&P 500 right now is 23%. The average is about 10% per year, and that's why the S&P averages 10% per year in the last 50 years, because that's what EPS growth was. So what we're seeing right now is 23%. And we're also seeing 23%, which is more than double, at a time that the valuation, despite what you see online, the valuation is not that expensive in my opinion. The forward price earnings ratio level for the S&P is basically 20. The 5-year average is basically 20. The 10-year average is 19. So we're paying a little bit more for P/E ratio right now versus the 10-year average. But what helps justify that? The fact that maybe earnings per share growth is 23% year over year, right? Of course, that's what it is. The market is just growing faster because this is an earnings growth driven rally, if that makes sense. Okay, so let's take a look at my Charles Schwab account really quick. And by the way, I've been out of town for the last couple weeks. That's why my videos kind of like haven't really been good in the last few weeks. But we're back, baby. We're good. We're going to start going into the usual stuff that we cover of just simply how to make money in the stock market. So I had to go pre-record a few evergreen videos, but we're back. So this is my Charles Schwab account as of right now, $1,442,000. This was as of the Friday close, June 26th. And this is just normal day-to-day volatility. This is justified, normal, and healthy. But you can take a look right here at my 2-year return. You know, there's really nothing to explain right here. And I don't send money to this Charles Schwab account because SIPC coverage is only $500K. So I've been building other brokerage accounts beyond this. But let's go take a little peek inside and see what I got. And then towards the end of the video, we'll again go through the stock sheet. We'll figure out what I'm looking at and just really do a high-level overview of how to allocate your portfolio potentially. Okay, so this is everything that I have open in a Charles Schwab account. I'm scrolling to the bottom right here. You can see all that. And I know your eyes are drawn to the bottom of like, oh my God, Brandon is getting smoked right now and this stuff on the bottom. No, we're going to explain this because you guys know I'm fully transparent about what I do in my portfolio and what I'm thinking with everything. So I think there'll be a lot of value if you stick around and let me explain this stuff to you. But this is what I got as of right now. NASDAQ, S&P, Tesla, TSM, Micron, Google, Microsoft, Meta, NVIDIA, and then I have some option trades right here. The goal of options right now is to allocate to great companies at good prices. When you understand that the overall market's a little bit overvalued right now, you don't want to go allocate to things that are super speculative and things that are overvalued and just riding that hype train. Because if the market does come down a little bit more towards fair value, those things that are just sending to the moon like the Marvells and stuff like that and the Intels, those stocks are going to fall quite a bit because they're overvalued right now in my opinion. But, I still have my NVIDIA sold puts, I have my Meta sold puts. I'm just going to be patient on this stuff. There's $17,000 in juice left here, so I could basically realize 17K more in profit, 55K more profit right here. This stuff is looking fine. I'm just going to be patient and sit on it. But let's go to the bottom. I think this is where the big lesson learned is right here. Micron obviously is a very, very volatile stock. I have a very small position in Micron. And what I actually did here is I sold Micron sold puts going out till 2027 at a 490 strike, literally over 50% out of the money right now. I picked up $7,100 in cash flow. I went and bought shares with that, and I'm just going to be patient. It's very likely these Micron sold puts will expire out of the money, and then when they do expire out of the money, I'm going to go pick up these Micron shares essentially for free right here, because you can look at my cash balance right here. These are not cash secured puts. These are portfolio secured puts. I have many videos on that. I'll link one at the end here to explain that. There's no cash drag. There's no opportunity cost. I'm not paying anything in margin interest. And if this entire portfolio collapses 50%, I'm going to be totally fine. It's not going to matter whatsoever. My ratios are well within check. I will not get a margin call. Just want to say that. But going down a little bit more, you can see that Google's a little bit red. That's fine. I think that Google is growing great. There's a little bit of volatility. That's all good. Taking a look at these Google sold puts, I'm down about $1,200 on them. It's only a very small trade right here. Usually when these contracts get to maybe like $2,000 in the red, I could consider rolling it down and out only for the purpose of realizing the tax loss. I'll be able to realize the tax loss, essentially being the exact same trade. So maybe I'll just change the strike to like 290 or something like that. And the IRS will not deem that as significantly identical. The Microsoft shares I'll be patient with, Meta shares I'll be patient with, and NVIDIA shares I will also be patient with. All of this stuff right here I am extremely, extremely bullish on. And I just want to be crystal clear with everybody right now. I do not care that I have a little bit of red in my portfolio. It does not bother me one bit. My ROI in the last 10 years, 5 years, 3 years, year to date has been smoking the S&P 500. So it's okay to have a little bit of red. I'm allocating to great companies at good prices with the right option strategy, and I'm going to be patient with it. Let the companies grow their earnings per share because the stock will follow that, and also let those companies revert back higher to fair value. I think that most of these companies are pretty beat up right here. So taking a look at the stock sheet right now, this is a lot of research and data that I compile into this, and this is really just the summary. I do all the deeper dives in Discord with the audio replies of like post-earnings recap and stuff like that. There's just a lot more research I do in there, but this is why I just document it in a very simple way. So let's start on the bottom here. Anything in red is obviously stuff that I think is garbage. So like the Nike, the Nokia, the Coinbase, Starbucks, Walmart, Iron, all this stuff is usually in the red because the intrinsic value is just, the stock is overvalued is what it really is. So this is percent of intrinsic value. So if we go to the right for Nike, for example, intrinsic value is somewhere around $13 and it's currently trading at 40. So I don't care if the stock falls. It's not even close to fair value. And if you look at the score that I give it for growth, this is a 5 out of 20. It's garbage. The mode is garbage. The execution risk is garbage. And then economy, everything gets the same score of a 22 out of 30 because they all operate in the same economy for the most part. But then if we go to the top towards the cream of the crop, you can see that my favorites are going to be NVIDIA, Meta, S&P 500, NASDAQ, Micron, TSM, Microsoft, Broadcom, Berkshire, SGov is bonds. I do still have a little bit of a bond allocation in my portfolio right now. Amazon's basically 3% above fair value. Salesforce, I don't have an allocation to Salesforce yet, and I do know that I made a video on Salesforce a few weeks ago. I think the Salesforce is cheap. The question mark is going to be, do they actually have a durable moat? And moat for Salesforce, I gave them a 13 out of 20. So it's not amazing moat, but it's decent, but I'm going to be patient on that. Google is something that I recently allocated to. It is now about 6% below intrinsic value. If we go to the right on Google, currently trading at 334, fair value somewhere around 353. So things like that is what we want to allocate to. So even though you might see a little bit of red in my portfolio, like would I want to go buy Google shares for $300 a share in 2027? Like I definitely would, because right now Google's fair value is $350. And in a year and a half from right now, earnings per share is going to go up and to the right. So it's going to be even more compelling to buy it at $300. So, that's the name of the game of things that I want to allocate to here. And of course, you guys all know I don't do short duration options. That's a fool's game. Nobody knows what's going to happen in the market in the short term. And the people that do tell you that, they're just trying to, nobody knows. You'll learn one day. You'll believe me one day that nobody knows what the market does in the short term. And then of course, as we go down from here, things become less and less compelling. So the simple thing here is anything with a score of 75 or higher is things that I am bullish on and would potentially allocate to. These are potential allocations right here that I'm looking at. But of course, this is only as of right now. And then if we flip to my bull bear scale super quick, I haven't updated this in about a week, but right now I'm about a 6.8 still. So this is 6.8 out of 10. So I'm bullish, but I'm cautiously optimistic in the short term because again, we still are a little bit above the earnings per share growth line. We'll call it about 5-ish%. And we could go draw this out here too to see how low we actually are. Yeah, literally 5%. The market could come back to earth and take a little bit more of a breather, and we'll allocate more as we get closer to the earnings per share growth line. But really at the end of the day, the summary is this. Despite what you see online, I think the economy is okay. The market is okay. We're not going to see a big bad crash, at least not unless it's some black swan event. The key is to keep buying great companies at good prices. Bet on long duration plays in the stock market, not in the short term, because nobody on earth knows what's going to happen in the market in the short term. So great companies, good prices, at least 1+ year for your sold puts and your calls that you buy. Always keep your ratios in check so if the market falls 50%, you're going to be cool. And that's really it. Don't overcomplicate the volatility. The market just simply went up a little bit more than what it should have went up. It's now coming back to earth. Let it. Let the market come back to earth. That is okay. All right, I'm going to link that video, as I said, for how I do stock options in a deeper way. You're going to love it. Check it out right here, and I'll see you guys in the next video.